Humans are required to have a wife, and I've been assigned to you, said the small alien girl. Beginning. The year was 2149, and Earth was no longer the isolated blue marble it had once been. For over a decade, humanity had been part of the Intergalactic Union of civilized worlds, a sprawling coalition of species united by trade, diplomacy, and a strange patchwork of cultural mandates. For humans, the most baffling mandate came only last year. Every registered human citizen must be bonded with a partner from within the Union. The law was not optional. According to the Union Council, partnership reduced social unrest, improved survival rates, and prevented the lonely descent of species into extinction. While on Earth the law had sparked protests, it was clear refusal was not tolerated. The Union didn't ask for compliance. It demanded it. My name is Elias Mercer, 29 years old, engineer on one of the orbital stations above Mars. I had managed to dodge most of the bureaucracy for months, but now my file had come up in the system. That morning, a metallic chime echoed in my small habitation pod. The holographic display lit up with a message stamped with the Union crest. Assignment complete. Partner selected. Arrival imminent. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes. Frowning. Partner selected? They didn't even ask me. The pod door hissed open automatically, and in stepped someone, or rather, something I wasn't expecting. She was small, barely reaching my chest, with large eyes that shimmered like drops of liquid silver. Her hair flowed around her head as though underwater, shifting from pale violet to indigo with each movement. She wore a Union envoy uniform, though it hung slightly loose, as if tailored for someone taller. She stopped in front of me, squared her shoulders, and spoke with surprising authority for her size. Humans are required to have a wife, and I've been assigned to you, she said matter-of-factly. My name is Leora. Effective immediately, I am yours. I blinked at her. You're joking? Her silver eyes narrowed. Do I appear to be joking? That was how it began. Middle. The Union had rules about pair bonding. Every couple, whether human-human, human-alien, or alien-alien, had to log hours together, share living quarters, and attend mandatory compatibility check-ins. If compatibility wasn't proven within a year, the bond was dissolved and reassignment initiated. I wasn't opposed to companionship. What I opposed was the force. Still, rejecting an assignment was punishable by fines, loss of Union privileges, even exile from interstellar stations. So I had little choice but to let this tiny alien girl unpack her strange cube-shaped luggage in my cramped pod. Leora was peculiar. She came from a species called the Neari, humanoid in form but with heightened empathy and strange cultural habits. She often sat cross-legged on my bunk, eyes closed, as if listening to something I couldn't hear. When she spoke, it was blunt, direct, and occasionally insulting. On the first day, she wrinkled her nose at my cooking. Too much salt. Your body will deteriorate early if you eat this way. On the second day, she rearranged the pod's furniture. Your living arrangement is chaotic. Chaos invites loneliness. Loneliness invites death. By the third day, I caught her staring at my hands as I repaired a faulty stabilizer in the wall. Strange, she murmured. What's strange? I asked. Your hands. They look fragile, yet you trust them to fix what holds your habitat together. Curious. Despite her critical nature, I began to realize something. She wasn't unkind. She simply didn't know human softness, human ways of dancing around feelings. To her, bluntness was honesty. Weeks turned into months. Our assigned time together grew from awkward silence to small rituals, sharing evening meals, working side by side in the repair bay, even walking along the Martian colony's observation deck to watch the storm swirl over the red horizon. One evening, after a particularly grueling shift repairing coolant lines, I collapsed onto my bunk. Leora tilted her head, studying me. You push yourself too hard, she said. It's my job. It's self-destruction, she corrected. Then, after a pause, she added softly, You remind me of someone I once knew. It was the first time her voice trembled. I turned my head. Who? A partner I was assigned before. He was human, too, but he didn't survive the year. Her words settled heavily between us. I wanted to ask more, but the sorrow in her eyes stopped me. For the first time, I saw the fragility beneath her alien certainty. That night, as I lay awake listening to the hum of the station, I realized I no longer thought of her as an intruder. She was a part of my life now. The Union didn't care about emotions, but it did care about progress reports. At our 6-month check-in, the holographic examiner appeared and began its list of questions. Bonded pair Elias Mercer and Leora Nari. Compatibility assessment required. Do you share quarters? Yes, I answered reluctantly. Do you share meals? Yes. Do you engage in mutual caretaking behaviors? Leora placed a hand on my arm before I could respond. Yes, she said firmly. Her silver eyes locked with mine. I felt warmth spread through me, unspoken, undeniable. The examiner concluded. Pairs showing stable integration. Continued monitoring required. When the hologram flickered off, I exhaled in relief. Leora, however, remained thoughtful. Elias, she said softly, the union calls this bonding. But where I come from, we call it something deeper. The Nari word is shivre. It means to carry another's weight as if it were your own. I didn't know what to say, but something in my chest tightened. The turning point came 3 months later. The orbital station suffered a catastrophic hull breach after an asteroid fragment struck the lower ring. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the entire habitat shook. Engineers scrambled to seal the breach, but one of the critical stabilizers, the same system I had been maintaining, was failing. If it collapsed, half the station would depressurize. I raced the maintenance shaft with my tools, only to find Leora right behind me. You shouldn't be here. I shouted over the alarms. I am assigned to you, she shot back. Where you go, I go. Together we crawled to the shaft, fighting against the pull of failing gravity. Sparks showered as conduits ruptured, filling the narrow space with acrid smoke. I reached the stabilizer and began the override, but my hand slipped on the melted surface. Damn it, it's too unstable. Without hesitation, Leora pressed her small hands over mine, guiding them with calm precision. Her voice was steady even as the shaft groaned around us. Trust me, Elias. Let me carry this weight with you. I did. Together, we rerouted the power, sealed the breach, and stabilized the system just as the alarms faded. The station groaned back into balance, and silence filled the shaft once more. For a long moment, we just breathed, side by side, hands still clasped. I turned to her, words failing me. She only whispered one thing. Shivre? Ending. After the crisis, the Union Council praised us for exemplary cooperative behavior. To them, it was nothing more than another successful pairing report. But to me and to Leora, it meant something else entirely. In the months that followed, our lives intertwined not because of mandates, but because of choice. We still argued about food, about work habits, about how often I forgot to recycle water. But those arguments no longer felt like clashes. They felt like the friction of two lives shaping one another. One evening, as we stood on the observation deck, Mars glowing beneath us, Leora spoke quietly. When I was assigned to you, I thought it was just another duty, another requirement. But I was wrong. You are not a requirement. Elias, you are what I choose. I reached for her hand, small, warm, trembling slightly in mine. I choose you too, I said, and I meant it. When the next compatibility examiner appeared, asking its sterile questions, we didn't just answer yes. We looked at each other and smiled. The union might have forced us together, but what grew between us, the trust, the partnership, the chivre, that was ours alone. And in that quiet truth, I realized something remarkable. Sometimes, what begins as an assignment can become the very thing you never knew you were searching for.